Hello and welcome to Aid and Eyewitness. I'm here on Regent Road Bridge, City of Manchester behind me, City of Salford straight ahead, divided by the River Irwell. And I'm going to look at new and recent construction along the River Irwell, and that would mark the western edge of Manchester city centre, where it spills over into Salford. And take a look at some of the new construction and also some of the recent construction that I've not really noticed or paid much attention to, including these buildings here.
What caused that noise and wobbly picture?
Some of the new construction.
Someone nearby trying to zap into my iPhone. I'll tell you later. So these brick buildings on the left are part of the development called Wilburn Basin, or Wilburn Street Basin, designed by OMI architects, completed in 2017. I've noticed one difference between Manchester and Salford. New buildings in Salford seem to have more brick. New buildings in Manchester seem to have more glass. Both materials have their merits. Brick blends in with the traditional urban environment, but can seem dull on rainy days. Glass reflects the urban environment and the sky in changing weather and lighting conditions. Both materials have good weathering qualities, concrete less so. The Wilburn Street development was completed in very much a solid brick concept with a minimalist look. The balconies remind me of the Bauhaus Dessau, where I'm going to be visiting soon. Funny how you can see the cobblestones or sets. The past is always there, under the surface. One criticism, it doesn't have the name of the building at the top, like an old mill. Are those real bricks, or is it slipper brick? Looks like real brick to me. We can see how the development is being built around the canal basin just off the River Irwell. The four buildings are at different angles to each other. Nice to see an information board with local history, but there's no time to read it. Pause the video if you like. So we'll get ready to continue on two wheels along the river, and we're looking down towards Regent Road Bridge where we started. The tower next to the bridge and Regent Road is Vista River Gardens, 169 metres or 555 feet, and by the side of it is the taller Trinity Heights, now in its final stages. Trinity Heights is 183 metres or 600 feet, second tallest in Manchester after Deansgate Square South Tower. It was bought and will be run as a BTR, Build to Rent project, by Canada-based Starlight Investments. Reminds me of that song by Muse. Oh, and what's going on there across the river? It's early construction work on the other plot that's part of the Trinity Islands site. This is Westgate. Two more tall buildings will be built here. The entire Trinity Islands development is a project of developer Reshaping. All four towers designed by architects Simpson Huff. The Irwell is home to ducks and ducklings. Who says families are not returning to the city centre? Here we can see two bridges side by side. One carries today's trains, the other carried one of the first passenger trains in the world. The bridge on the left is George Stephenson's Irwell Railway Bridge, dating from 1830, now disused. The one on the right was built later and carries trains heading west to Liverpool and northwest to Bolton, and towards Manchester Piccadilly and points east and south. That's the Princess Catherine, operated by Manchester River Cruises, highly recommended. And soon after, a train operated by Transpennine Express, heading to Victoria and points north. Seen from the footbridge, that's Aviva Studios, designed by the Netherlands-based OMA. It's not quite like New York's Lincoln Centre for the Performing Arts, but this is 2020's Manchester. Tall residential towers have appeared on both sides of the Irwell. On the Salford side, for many years it was just waste ground. And there's Princess Catherine on her way back now to Salford Quays. The Dark Tower is Novella, 23 stories with 1 and 2 bedroom departments. Checking the website, I saw 1 bed sold out, 2 bed from around £330,000. Architects Hawkins Brown. Now we continue to our Granada Studios tour. Oh dear, my iPhone is run out of memory. Bear with me please while I clear some space. That's better. So, what was I saying? Yes. The entrance to Granada Studios tour, as captured in my dusk photo taken on the 13th of November 1998. It was closed to the public the following year. Today, 2 towers stand on the site. These are the Union co-living towers. The name is at the top, like on an old mill. U plus N-I-O-N. A room in a 4-bedroom cluster, actually apartment sounds better, I saw on the website was £895 all in. So it's a kind of flat share. I call it Rising Damp in the Sky. That's the classic ITV sitcom. But how do they choose your flatmates? Well, they have a special way of doing that. Look it up. Just behind the towers, let's not forget the Granada TV building, an icon of the classic age of television. There's the view northeast from the new footbridge and southwest towards the 1830 railway bridge, and above it, Vista, Trinity and Wilburn. Try to imagine the old Stevenson steam engine puffing across the bridge, hauling wagons with people and animals, including chickens, towards Liverpool. There's another Transpennine train curving round towards the west, and these steps commemorate famous canals. And on the right, modern day spray can vandalism. What a shame. We'll push the Brompton up the small incline and continue. On all sides we can see and hear trains on viaducts and bridges, crisscrossing the river, the main roads and the streets. I really like the ambient sound of the city. It's my preferred audio backdrop. We sail above the Irwell. On the left, the inner ring road and the railway line to Victoria Station. There's that multi-storey car park that reminds me of a department store in Dresden, former East Germany. The white towers are the Slate Yard luxury apartments designed by architects AHR. The website showed rental prices between £1,200 and over £2,000 per month, and its next door neighbour, Novella. What's through there between the railway viaducts? It's an empty development site. It should have been built on quite a few years ago, but I've read that construction may be commencing soon. Let's continue. And what's this building covered in vegetation? This is the Eden building, designed by Make Architects. They designed some of the buildings in Birmingham that we saw in my recent video. It's award-winning, and unusually for new buildings, it's an office building with a roof terrace. In that photo, on display in the ground floor window, we are looking south across the former Granada Studios site. Can you spot the renovated Granada building? The whole Granada TV site has been repurposed into a new residential, cultural and commercial quarter named St John's. We've reached Quay Street Bridge, one of those lattice work bridges similar to those on the Ship Canal, though this is not a swing bridge. And here I was recognised by a guy passing by who watches my channel. We had a long chat about Manchester development. Very interesting. I learned a few things. On the bridge are the two old coats of arms, City of Salford, City of Manchester, and we noticed that both have bees, symbolising industry. That's why the Bee Network is such a good title, as it's not associated with just one city. The sign says, "Welcome, you are now in Salford." These signs look modern, but they've been up now for well over 20 years. Let's return to the Salford side now and continue through New Bailey. The river is on our right. That's 4 New Bailey straight ahead, also designed by Make Architects. There we have a solid balustrade, a couple of centuries old, next to a footbridge that's only a few years old, but is being declared unsafe to use. Beyond it, the huge residential development called Left Bank in Spinningfields on the Manchester side. 20 years old, architects IDAS, still covered in scaffolding, I think for recladding work. The guy I met earlier lives there, and he told me that they have a very diverse range of residents, both in age and origin, including families. Now we'll take a look at the River Irwell in the past. These photos from the Manchester Images collection. The Irwell Bridge in 1973 from the Manchester side, looking southwest. The river curves to the left. There are large industrial buildings and a chimney. They disappeared in later years. And in this view, the Irwell Bridge from the Salford side, 1892 it says in the picture details, looking northeast. The river curves to the right. Albert Bridge in the distance. What a transformation. And this view back on the Salford side looking southwest, taken in 1973. That's the Prince's Bridge, which was taken down to make way for the new development that's taken place around here. Today, Novella and Slate Yard are on the right, Aviva Studios on the far left. This is the New Bailey development area on the site of an old prison. On the sign, if we look closely, we can see they have superimposed a plan of the new buildings on top of the prison. Brilliant. This is the changing face of New Manchester, Albert Bridge House to be demolished, a mural depicting a bee on a rainbow, the Civil Justice Centre, Left Bank Apartments, and the new apartment towers we've been looking at further down the river. Oh, and a quick arty architectural shot for New Bailey and Affinity Living Riverview. Let's walk further now, and in front of us is the Calatrava footbridge, but behind those overgrown trees on the right, two major new projects are in planning. In the development by Oval Real Estate, there will be 2 residential towers and 1 office building, all on a hexagonal theme, similar to the octagon residential tower we saw in Birmingham, but with 6 sides rather than 8. On the neighbouring site, the planned high-tech duotone flatiron style building with curved corners, developer Bruntwood Scitech. And what's that over there? It's the tower of No. 2 St Michael's climbing ever skywards. And there's Blackfriars Bridge, opened in June 1820, with its Ionic columns. We can only imagine how Manchester looked at the time that bridge was built. To help us, here's an old drawing from the Manchester Local Image Collection. A full moon lighting up dramatic clouds with a large mill and chimney on the Salford side. Further on is Victoria Bridge, built in 1830. In the distance, more industrial buildings in chimneys, and on the Manchester side, the Tower of Manchester Cathedral. In the foreground, small boats and the lights of the mill sparkling in the murky waters of the River Irwell. Today, the river is mostly overlooked by apartments. A lot of water has passed under that bridge since it was built, and this vantage point gives us a startling vision of a changing Manchester, with the cathedral, new Vic apartments, the CIS tower, and many more. It's a complex, chaotic, crowded, rather disorderly, unplanned, haphazard scene, combining traditional and modern, and everything else in between. So, welcome. You are now in Manchester and Salford. On the Manchester side, the venerable No. 1 Deansgate by Simpson Huff, now 24 years old. People say these buildings have a short shelf life, but this one seems okay. And across the river, the former Highland House, later North Tower, now Premier Inn. I wrote about that tower in my architecture project at primary school. This is the view in 1973 towards Exchange Station, which closed in 1969, and today. To the north, more construction, but we'll leave that for another video. We've arrived at Victoria Station, which, just like Birmingham New Street Station, uses ETFE, ethylene tetrafluoroethylene, on its roof.
And that's all from this edition of Aid Eyewitness. We'll continue the journey in the next video in the series, the 3rd. So, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen in Manchester und Salford.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, you can get early access to my videos along with occasional members-only videos by becoming a channel member for £2.99 a month, and you get 25% discount on my photo walks. More and more people are joining. The support really helps. Cancel at any time. And what was the cause of that audio and visual glitch at the beginning? Low storage. The iPhone zapped itself in order to keep going, but soon it ran out of storage completely. I'm hoping to get the next iPhone later this year. This is the second of my 3-part construction tour around Manchester city centre and Salford. Click above to see more.